So, was last night good for you too? Mm. That was football sex, baby. And welcome everybody to the Friday Forecast here on Stay Tuned Sports. It's your boy King hanging out with you here on this very windy and rainy and kind of, I don't want to say apocalyptic, but it's nasty outside on this very nasty ass Friday. As we're getting ready to go into Week 16, we've already started Week 16 last night with maybe the game of the year. Again, we still got games coming up here, so we might have somebody coming as a late challenger. But right now, I think game of the year has to be last night's game. Not only game of the year, but that might have been the greatest Thursday night football game of all time, where the Seattle Seahawks come all the way back from a 16-point deficit deep in the fourth quarter and defeat the Los Angeles Rams. And just an amazing fashion, 38-37 with a 2-point conversion in overtime. The first team to win in overtime with a 2-point conversion with the rules as they have set out now. So we got a first. We had it had everything going. It had a punt return. We had interceptions. We had controversies. We had maybe the strangest 2-point conversion in the history of the game that was confusing everybody, and then everybody's like, well, didn't the whistle blow? And it's like, yes, but as with any fumble, if it's an inadvertent whistle and somebody directly recovers it in immediate action, then that still counts, and people were confused by that, which I don't know why. It's not that confusing. It was what an absolute blast of a game. That was fun to watch. It was fun to stream. I'm glad so many of you were in the chat with us for that one. By the way, Crafty in the chat with us says King had a game ejaculation. Dude, when you watch, when you've been, I've streamed the Giants all year. Okay? And I do other games. Obviously, I do some of the primetime games, and some of those have been some stinkers as well. But I've streamed the Giants all year. So when you get a game of just that finger-licking good caliber, like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? Come on. Like, of course, I am exactly, I'm at a loss for words with just how great that game was. And I certainly hope that you enjoyed it as well. Lloyd said, how was the mutton? Better than the crow. I'll say that. Crafty says, to be fair, it could have been the best Thursday night football game of all time, but it's not exactly much of a high bar on that one. Agreed. I will agree on that one. Biggest comeback in this history of the Seattle Seahawks in their franchise history. Crafty letting us know that as well. Lloyd says ball wasn't dead. And that's it. It was a live ball. And even with the whistle blow, like, again, it's the same with any other fumble play that the refs, they'll whistle, he's down. And then they review it, and it's like, okay, no, he wasn't down. So there was an immediate recovery on an immediate action on that play, then it goes to the team that recovered the ball. And same thing there. It was a backwards pass. It was tipped by a defensive player, so it's a live ball. None of the, you can't advance a fumble or anything like that, since it was tipped by the defensive team. It was touched by them. So there's that. Plus, then there was the immediate recovery by Seattle in the end zone. Because of that, it counts. And I know Ram fans are upset, and that's fine. You're allowed to be upset. Puka Nacua was upset very much. I'm sure he was this close to calling the referees an ethnic slur. It seems like that's his thing. I don't know. But instead, he just said, what did he say about the refs? Something that they just want to be on TV. And that's why they screw up all the time. He's like, thanks for the, great situational awareness or whatever it was. So he's got fined for that one. Crafty in the chat says, off topic, but how come you don't have a Patreon? Because I never set one up. And me and Jimbo, when we first came up with this, we were like, what's the easiest thing to do? So we set up a Buy Me a Coffee over there, which is you can go and donate to us if you'd like to go ahead. We have a link in the top of the chat and in the description below, along with our merch store, our donation station there at Buy Me a Coffee. So you can do that. And that's the same thing. They have like a membership thing on there as well, but I haven't figured out what quite to offer yet for like the membership. Like, I would hate for you guys to be like, oh, $5 recurring membership, and like there's no advantage to it. I'd love to give like a percentage off in the merch store as like a thing. Hey, if you become a member each month, you get a code to get 5, 10, 15% off in the merch store, whatever it is. But the print to order store that I use for right now, because I haven't sold enough yet, they don't have it for me to be allowed to do any kind of deals on merch. So it's kind of still, everything is still up in the air. Crafty says that Buy Me a Coffee doesn't allow donations through PayPal. Oh, okay. We'll see. Paul in the chat says definitely no dick pics. It's not OnlyFans. We're not doing an OnlyFans, Paul. So maybe that's it. Maybe I will now look into a Patreon, because I know Patreon also takes a pretty decent cut of what you might give or what might get started. I will look into it, and if that's the case, maybe I'll jump over and the donation station will be, instead of Buy Me a Coffee, it'll be Patreon. I will see, because I know that's it. Buy Me a Coffee has been a little weird in trying to either get the funds from or people trying to donate to. So we'll see, and I'll set that up, and if that works, and it works, and I'll do that. So that's a good looking out, Crafty. I'll see what we do there. But yeah, we got our first Saturday games coming up. Tomorrow we've got the Eagles and Redskins, and we've got the Packers and the Bears, plus a full Sunday slate and Monday Night Football. So enough of me yammering and jibber jabbing. None of this jibber jabber. Why don't we just jump into it and let's take a look at what we got going on for week 6. We're already in week 16, baby. It's almost done. It is almost done. Remember when we couldn't wait to get to this point? When we couldn't wait for the season to start? Now we are here. Lloyd in the chat says King's going to be selling his bald spot like NFTs. That's not a bad idea. I'll tell you that. That's not a bad idea, Lloyd. All right, now let's jump on in. Let's take a look at what we have here. Of course, hey, by the way, I forgot to mention this. I won a Thursday night game. I picked the Thursday night game correctly for the first time. For the first time. Maybe all season. There might have been one in week 1 or week 2. I can't remember. But holy shit, it's been at least over 10 weeks since I picked a Thursday night football winner. And ladies and gentlemen, it took the biggest comeback in Seattle football history and a 2-point conversion in overtime and the weirdest 2-point conversion you've ever seen. But ladies and gentlemen, I won a Thursday night game. Kudos to me, finally. Now watch me only win like 3 more games this week, which is on par for how I pick these games. Crafty in the chat says King should do a Sidney Sweeney type deal and sell his bathwater. God, for the love of God, no. God, it's my bathwater and you're making me. Don't you do that to me, Crafty. Don't you do that to me, Crafty. Crafty says it would require bathing in the first place. Well, thank God I do that. I shower. I don't bathe. I don't want a bath. What am I, a little namby-pamby boy sitting in a bath? What am I putting bubble baths in there? Dude, a bubble bath doesn't sound bad. Moisturize a little bit. You get to relax. Put a little Enya on the CD player there. Get a couple candles. Very nice, relaxing. Why do the ladies get all the nice relaxing shit? You know what I'm saying? I got to sit in there with my Dial 3-in-1 soap. What are we doing here? What are we doing? ELS says, I joined at a bad time. No, ELS, you joined at the proper time. Oh, it's a fun Friday. It's a fun Friday. So, again, Saturday, 5 p.m., the Philadelphia Eagles travel down I-95 to take on the Washington Redskins there at Northwest Stadium. By the way, it's starting to look more and more like that Washington's going to go back to their Super Bowl, or the Redskins uniform, is what they're going to be moving towards. to look more and more like a proper football team. One step closer. It's one step closer. Listen, we're not going to spend too much time on that. Oh, why did that happen? Whoop, whoop. Let's get out of that. Why does that keep on? What is going on here? Yes, we want that. I have no idea. Oh, did this go ahead and change everything? Oh, it changed everything back. Okay, hold on 1 second. Ugh, I hate when this happens. I had everything set up, and then it went and, for some reason, decided to restart everything. Don't you hate when that happens? But, okay, so we have all that set up. Let me pull this back up. There we go. All right, Eagles, Washington. Not going to spend too much time on it. Going to pick the Eagles on that one. Lloyd says King is now on OnlyFans NFL edition. I'm going to be honest, like, because do you remember they were having commercials for, like, OnlyFans that were trying to tell people, like, oh, it's for, you could do this for, like, cooking shows, and you could do this for showing how arts and crafts are done. It's like, really? Remember? I don't know if everybody else remembers that. They were putting on, like, actual, like, advertisements, actual commercials on television. I was like, what? What? Like, we all know what OnlyFans is, right? Maybe that's something I'll do. Maybe I'll start streaming NFL games on OnlyFans. That's all. Just, hey, surprise, everybody. You wanted titties and ethot girls, but instead you're going to get the Green Bay Packers versus the Chicago Bears. That would be great. That would be great. Fantastic. Lloyd says Eagles. Yeah, Eagles. This is, I mean, even the Eagles, it's rare you get two get-right games in a row, but they got the Raiders last week, and now they got Washington this week. And it should be a win. Should be easy for them. And that would go ahead and wrap up the NFC East for the Eagles, and they would be the first back-to-back division champions since the Philadelphia Eagles in 2004. The nightcap there for Sunday night, the Green Bay Packers at the Chicago Bears. Green Bay, Christian Watson looks like he's going to be okay. I know he's limited in practice, but from what it seems like, he should play. But, of course, Micah Parsons has the ACL tear, which I guess the best news you can hope for as a Packers fan is that they said it was a clean tear. So it's going to be a relatively easier process for healing, and then they'll see what happens with there. So, again, it's the best case of a worst-case scenario for Micah Parsons, but we will see what happens there. At Soldier Field in Chicago, I'm going to have to go with the Bears on this one. It feels like this is the Bears' emergence, if you will. This is the Bears' time. And they are making the most of it. And Green Bay, again, the biggest thing with Green Bay, as it has been all season with them and with a lot of these other teams too, has been consistency. And right now, I mean, these teams are, outside of the Green Bay tie, you would say, okay, they're fairly even. And I agree. And the Bears have also had consistency problems. And Caleb Williams has had issues as far as being consistent in the quarterback spot. But the difference is the Bears are finding ways to win games. It feels like a little bit more than the Packers have. So I'm going to sit there. I'm going to go with the Bears. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt at home. 65% of the people picking are also picking the Bears. ELS, our resident Packers fan in the chat room, says, I think you know who I'm picking. Go pick, go. Packers, woo, Super Bowl, Packers, woo, Packers. Paul in the chat, our resident Colts fan, he says he's taking the Packers. Soldier Field will be rocking, agrees Crafty. Crafty saying that as well. Crafty says that the Bears lost a close game at Lambeau. Now they're at home. Versus, and I think that's the thing, is we're going to see if you can't get that rush onto Caleb Williams that Micah was able to bring. Michael gets that pressure on there. I agree. I'm just. It feels like if the Chicago's going to win this game, if they're going to beat the Packers, this is the game to go ahead and do it. Next up, boy, this matchup is here for now 2 of the last 3 weeks here. The Buccaneers versus the Panthers. They play again in 2 weeks in the last game of the season. This is the NFC South, baby. It's just 2 games to see who gets the South. It's the Buccaneers. They're traveling to Carolina. 64% of the people on the Buccaneers, both teams sitting at 7-7. The Buccaneers have just been on a downward trajectory. I think they're 1-5 or 1-6 in their last 7 games. They have not been able to get anything from what looked very good early on. You're like, oh man, the Buccaneers look like they're really rolling with it. They look really good. They have dropped like a rock. The Panthers, again, they are now making progress. It's great to see from that team, from Bryce Young, from Dave Canales there, working that team. The roster's doing better. Credit to Tepper for tempering his temper that Tepper has. And it seems like they are doing something well here. Paul in chat says that, back to the Bears game, is that Odunze is out. That is a big out there for the Bears. But here's the other thing the Bears have. The Bears do have other weapons. And their running game also is incredibly well. That's why I still went with the Bears. ELS says, you know what's going to be funny? Watch this Buccaneers-Panthers game end in a tie. Well, boy, then the last game of the year really comes down to all the marbles. But for this one, I am going to go with Tampa Bay. I just can't quit Baker. I just can't quit Baker. But I'll tell you what, these are the games where Bryce Young can absolutely put his stamp on the league and say, you know what? Big games and big time that are need to win games, to win divisions. Bryce Young can start making that case for himself and be like, I am indeed a guy that you can go ahead and build a franchise around. These are these type of games, and we'll see if he can prove me wrong, prove some other people wrong. 64% of the people are picking the Buccaneers. 36 are on the Panthers. I'm going to go with Tampa Bay, but it's very tentative. And then again, that might change in just 2 weeks when they play again. Crafty in the chat says, I just can't quit. You a little bit of broke back. It was a little bit of broke back. Outside of the whole penetration thing, yeah, very much so. The next game, not spending too much time on it. Bills at Browns. Shedeur Sanders is just bad. And fine, call me every name in the book you want to. Call me anything like that. Like, just look at the games. He's just like, he has ability. He just doesn't want to follow any sort of coaching, or he's just going to do his own thing. And that's been a big problem with him since Colorado, is that I think he's a very good pocket passer. I think he's very accurate. I think when he gets outside the pocket and he just tries to make too much happen when there's nothing there, he has yet to learn to throw the ball away, to scramble, to slide, to do any of those things. And he's had, and again, he's had those sparks of, hey, there is something there. And there is something there with Shedeur. But for right now, looking at these games, as we're looking at them right now, he's just not good. And the Bills are on a mission. Bills are on a mission. And listen, if you're ever going to have a chance to make it to the Super Bowl, Bengals are out of the playoffs. The Chiefs are out of the playoffs. The Ravens might be out of the playoffs. Buffalo, it has never been set up for you, as good as it is right now, to run yourself through these AFC playoffs and get to a Super Bowl. Can they do it, or will they again buffalo it up? We're going to find out here. I've got the Bills, though. In this game against the Browns, 99% of the people are also with the Bills. Chargers, go. Making the trip out to Arlington to take on the Cowboys. Cowboys eliminated from the playoffs if the Eagles win on Saturday, which they most likely will. So they're going to be playing for pride, as it were. Dak's been having a great season. There's no arguing about that. The Chargers, they're still alive in the AFC West race. So there's a chance that the Chargers can, if the Broncos collapse, and they might. I'm not saying they're going to. I'm not going to predict it, but I think it's possible. I want to pick the Chargers, but man, there's something about the Cowboys that just makes me feel like they're gonna play well in this game. They're at home, but at the end of the day, I'm gonna go with the Chargers because they have to win. I'm gonna go with the Chargers because it feels like they have to win, and recently it seems like they're winning the games by hook or by crook, that they have to win. So I'm gonna go with the Chargers. 76% of the people on the Chargers, although the Cowboys can easily win this game, and it might even be a blowout on the Cowboys side. I think Dak and this team can do that to this Chargers team, because Chargers are, again, one of those teams that all year has been very inconsistent, and you just can't get a good beat on them. But I'm a Giants fan, so fuck the Cowboys. Going with the Chargers. Jets, Saints. Saints are in the dome. They're at home. They just come off back-to-back wins against the Buccaneers and the Panthers, and now you're facing the Jets. Garrett Wilson's going to be out for the rest of the year. They said they're just sitting him and resting him up. The Jets just fired their defensive coordinator, Wilkes. He's gone. The Jets are the only team in the NFL without an interception. The Saints have been playing better. Shuck has been playing good. Sorry, I'm going with the Saints, baby. I love the Saints. I've been saying it all year. I like the Saints. I like what they're doing. And the Jets are just the Jets, man. 92% of the people on the Saints. I didn't think I would ever see that this year. But there it is. Saints over the Jets. Next up, the game we'll be covering also here at 1 o'clock on Sunday, the Minnesota Vikings against the New York Football Giants. J.J. McCarthy, is he starting to feel a rhythm now that the Vikings are out of the playoffs? Now I'm gonna play well. Now I'm gonna feel good. Seems like it's the Giants are just kind of sound along here. Again, I don't think anybody on that defense wants to be there, so it feels like Minnesota's going to put up at least 30 on the Giants and maybe more. And I don't know if this Giants offense, the way it is right now, is capable of doing anything else. So it's the Vikings. I'm going there. Looking through the chat here, Paul says the Saints. Lloyd has the Saints. ELS says the Saints are going to win by 48 points. Crafty says, "Are the Jets still starting their third stringer?" From everything I've seen, I don't think that's changed. So it might still be Brady Cook starting. But I think it is. ELS says it's possible that they might be starting Brady Cook still. The Jets are dead. Crafty says MetLife has a tendency to trip up hot teams at this point in the season, but the Vikings aren't really hot. They're a little lukewarm. They're okay. But I don't say they're hot. ELS says, I don't know why, but I want to pick the Giants this week. Yeah, that's your funeral, man. That's your funeral. I am going to pick the Vikings, though. Next up, we've got the Chiefs and the Titans, and I want to make sure I get this right. Because there is... let me pull this up here real quick. There was a list here of all the people that are out for the Chiefs coming up this week, and it is hilarious. Trent McDuffie, Leo Chenal, Jalen Moore, Rashee Rice, Juwan Taylor, Tyquan Thornton, Jake Bringingstool. Hey, bring your own stool. Nazee Johnson and Derek Nyandi are all out for the game on Sunday versus the Titans. Plus, of course, as we know, Patrick Mahomes on the IR, out for the year with the torn ACL. It seems like the Chiefs have just said, all right, we missed the playoffs. Everybody take a seat. And, of course, maybe Minshew Mania takes over. Maybe Minshew Mania is able to take over and the Chiefs go in at Tennessee and beat that team. But, boy, if there ever was a time that you ever thought that the Tennessee Titans could go ahead and beat the Chiefs, it would be in this game. 74% of the people on the Chiefs. You know what? I'm going to give benefit of the doubt to the Titans. I'm going for the upset here. I'm picking the Titans. I don't know why it would be an upset really at this point, considering it seems like the Chiefs have half their team out. And they are as disheartened, I think, as you've ever seen them. But I am going to go with the Titans. Subret, not Sobret. S-A-B-R-E-T-T-E. I think there's an E on the end, yeah. Sabret hot dogs are the best. That's not the sauce. That's the actual hot dog. They do have, like, Sabret, like the onions and stuff like that, but... ELS says he's going with the Titans as well. Paul says Titans. Lloyd says Chiefs. So we'll see there what happens. But, yeah, I'm going to go with the Titans. I'm going with Titans. I'm going with the fighting Titans. Next, we have the Bengals at 4-10 going against is it Clinton Ewers is starting now? Yeah, they benched Tua. It's Ewers, and then it's Zach Wilson backing up Ewers. Tua is all the way back at an emergency quarterback, not even on the active roster for the game. Bengals versus Dolphins down in Miami. Bengals are out of the playoffs. Dolphins just got eliminated out of the playoffs on Monday night with their loss to the Steelers. So not a lot going on here. Joe Burrow says he's not having fun. Rumors are swirling around whether or not he will be in Cincinnati too much longer, or will he be traded for a bag? What is going to happen there? I have no idea. The Dolphins, I mean, that's just a mess. They just might be playing with house money and just be like, screw it. Go out there. McDaniels is like, I'm getting fired anyway, so let's just go out there and open a playbook and let's just go apeshit nuts. It feels like that, and if that's going to be the case, I'll say Miami at home beats the Bengals. That'll be my pick there. These late season games sometimes get a little wonky. So you kind of, you kind of almost have to think a little silly. And sometimes it works, and sometimes you look dumb as shit. Most times for me, I look dumb as shit. But that's why I'm going to go at it. I'm going to say Dolphins. I think Dolphins just go, screw it. 3 games left. Let's just go fucking nuts. And that might win them a game. Falcons at 5-9. They are out of the playoff race, as are the Cardinals at 3-11. I know I shouldn't. I know it doesn't make any sense. But I just can't quit the Cardinals. I love my Desert Birds. I like Jacoby Brissett. I like them. They're at home. And the Falcons are, like the Falcons aren't in any great shakes here either. They're 2 games better than the Cardinals. Whoop-de goddamn shit. Who cares? 85% of the people on the Falcons, I'm going the other way. I'm picking my Desert Birds, baby. I don't. That's not what a Cardinal sounds like, I don't think. But still, there we go, Cardinals. Now, in what might be the game of the 4 o'clock window, could be the game of the week. Nah, nothing's going to beat that Seattle Rams game. Although maybe it could. We're going to find out here. The Jacksonville Jaguars take a trip up to the Mile High City to take on the Denver Broncos. We will be streaming that game here on Sunday at 4:25 p.m. Oh, 4:05. Never mind. I'll shut up. Hopefully that Giants-Minnesota game ends early so that I can just switch over to this game. I just might end that game early. I don't know. Although we do all the 4 quarters, but we'll see. I don't want to go to this game late, but we'll see. ELS says, "Can I pick a tie for a game?" You can just not pick the game, yeah, and then that would technically just be for a tie. Crafty in the chat says, "King going the other way like Liberace." I don't know what you're talking about. Liberace was as straight as an arrow. He was just a little bit eccentric. That's all. I've said all year, I just don't believe in the Broncos. I've said it all year. I have said it all year, so I've been very consistent on that point. I've also said that the Jaguars are highly inconsistent, and Trevor Lawrence is not somebody I would build around or be a franchise quarterback for me. He's been a lot better these last couple of weeks and had maybe his best game of his career last week. Granted, it was against the Jets. The Jets are going to be a little bit different than going up against the Broncos in Mile High. ELS in the chat, I think he might be going the way I'm going here. I'm going against the grain again on another game that was 85-15. 85 in percentage of the Broncos, 15 for the Jaguars. Give me Jacksonville, baby. Give me the Jaguars. I love the idea of the Jaguars going up to Mile High and getting the win. And here's the thing. Here's the other thing, too. If the Broncos end up winning this game, and doing so in convincing fashion, which they haven't done, really, all season, is really win in a convincing fashion, I might have to finally put them up like in the top 5, top 4, somewhere around there. Maybe. We'll see. We'll see how the rest of the power rankings shake out. But for now, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt for the Jaguars. Jaguars over the Broncos at Mile High, which will then open the door for the Patriots. It can open the door for the Chargers. It'll open the door for maybe the Bills even. So we got a chance to really find out here. Lloyd in the chat says the Jaguars are playing like a nutbag and still somehow winning. Well, see, that's the thing with a nutbag is that it lets through a lot of things, but it holds the chunky stuff in. So if that, I mean, that's, you know, yeah, they're letting some stuff through. Yeah, maybe it's not the best, but when it comes to needing to filter out all the shit that you need to get filtered out, they're doing a job. So really. Paul says the Broncos all day at home in the cold. He's going Broncos all day. Well, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Let's not forget, about 30 years ago, the Jaguars went into Mile High Stadium and beat the number 1 seed Denver Broncos and John Elway at home in the last playoff game that they wore their beautiful orange crush uniforms, which they should 100% go back to. I think they really missed an opportunity when they redid these uniforms. They're like, let's keep the Cyber Bronco, which looks like shit, and keep the dark, almost blackish blue, and do that. You just should have went with the sky blue helmets and the orange crush uniforms, like Elway. If you wanted to tweak the D logo there with the Bronco on it, fine, but such a perfect uniform. You should have went with that, Denver. Steelers, Lions. Boy, Lions lose, they're basically done. The Lions have to win this game to stay in the playoff race. If the Lions lose, they will, for all intents and purposes, be out of the playoffs. The Steelers trying to stay ahead of the Ravens. Can somebody get a decent lead in that AFC North? We're going to find out. Can the Lions maintain themselves in this playoff race, or will they lose and fall out of it? I'm going Steelers against my better judgment. I think Aaron Rodgers has been playing a lot better. That Steelers defense, even without TJ, played a lot better on Monday night. Granted, that was the Dolphins. I understand that. But they have been playing better the last couple weeks. They're still not great. I still think that defense has a lot to work on. But I think they're playing better. TJ's been ruled out already, says Crafty. And I figured as much when, you have a punctured lung. It's going to take more than a week to just kind of bounce right back. But it just, this feels like everything Pittsburgh. And, of course, the Lions. And I love Dan Campbell. But when Dan Campbell gets a little frustrated, when he gets a little desperate, when he gets in those kind of big moments, we saw it in the NFC Championship game 2 years ago. We've seen it over and over again in his time with the Lions. He gets a little too Madden-y, if you might say. And I don't mean Madden as in John Madden. I mean Madden as in the game Madden. Because he starts going for it on a whole bunch of fourth downs. He starts trying to run way too many trick plays. He starts trying to do all that kind of shit. It feels like it's at the detriment of what his team maybe does the best. And it also exposes the defense to maybe some really bad situations that maybe they're just not equipped to handle right now. That's not to say that Hutchinson is not, I think, probably and should be, without a doubt, comeback player of the year. But there are spots on that defense that there are holes, and they're not at their strongest. So this feels like that kind of game where they're going to be a little bit desperate. It's basically a lose and you're out, win and you're still alive, but still not in a great spot. And this feels like Dan Campbell's going to maybe coach this game in that particular way. And that's going to give Pittsburgh the chance. And if you can get Aaron Rodgers to make mistakes, that's fine. But you don't want to give him too many opportunities. And it feels like the Lions might give him too many opportunities. And Aaron Rodgers, even at the age that he's at, is going to make you pay in that situation. Lloyd says that his confidence gets the best of him. He does get overzealous. That's my worry for the Lions in this game, which is why I'm going with the Steelers. Lloyd, obviously, our resident Lions fan, he's going with the Lions. ELS going with the Steelers. I'm going with the Steelers. Paul's going with the Lions as well in the chat. Paul says, hey, it's a must-win for the Lions at home. He thinks that they're going to pull it off. I can understand that as well. And here's the thing. I think if the Dan Campbell gambles, hey, that rhymes, work out, then the Lions can absolutely win this game. And in that case, they'll be fine. But my worry is that he's going to get a little too Dan Campbell-y, and the Campbell gambles aren't going to pay off, and instead give Pittsburgh opportunities, short field opportunities, and Aaron Rodgers will murder you in those situations. So that's why I have them. Raiders, Texans, we're moving on. Patriots and Ravens. Oh, boy. Oh, it's a rough night to be a Ravens fan. This game is in Baltimore, but the Ravens are facing it right now, especially if Pittsburgh beats Detroit. If Pittsburgh beats Detroit and the Ravens lose this game, it's all over but crying. It's all over but crying. The Ravens do play. It's not yet, not technically, because they'll still have they have one more game to play, and if each one of them goes, if those go to chalk, then the last game of the year could be for the division. Like if the Steelers lose their next game and the Ravens win their next game, and then it could still happen. So it's not out of the realm of possibility. But boy, you don't want to see the Patriots coming into town when you are desperate to get a win to try to keep your division and playoff hopes alive. 67% of the people are on the Patriots. I think I'm going to start moving over there to that particular game. Dan Gamble? Yeah, that's what I was saying, Crafty. I think that's pretty good. I think that's a pretty good name. I'm going to go with the Patriots. I think it's the Patriots that get in there. They're trying to stay ahead of the Bills. I think if the Patriots win this game, then they'll have the division, because the Bills could do is tie, and then it would go down to tie. I forget. I don't know. We don't know what all the tiebreakers are. Either way, New England wants to win this game. They had it. They had that game against Buffalo last week at home, and they choked it away. I don't think Vrabel's going to allow that to happen this time. Drake May has played well all year. This Ravens defense is not great, even when at full health. They're not great. They play better against lesser opponents, but when they play teams that are even marginally good, the Ravens have struggled all year, as you can tell by the 7-7 record. So I'm going with the Patriots on this one on Sunday Night Football, and that's going to put the Ravens, I think, in a real bad spot. Paul in the chat, he's picking the Ravens. Lloyd says he's picking the Patriots. ELS says, I don't see a chance for the Ravens in this particular game. Crafty says people are scrambling to write off the Patriots as frauds after they won 10 games in a row without a bye, and then they had a bad second half versus the reigning MVP. Like I said, you have to close out that game if you're the Patriots. Do I think that one half of football ruins their entire season? I don't think so, and it might for other teams. I don't see Vrabel allowing that to happen with the Patriots. I really don't. So that's why I'm going to go with New England based on Vrabel as their coach, based on how Drake May has played and gotten so much better and better and better this season, and the fact that the Ravens defense is not that great and Lamar Jackson has struggled all year. We have gotten playoff Lamar in the regular season. So that is a huge worry for the Ravens. I think New England goes down there, and I think they get the win. Now, Monday night, this is going to be particularly concerning our resident Colts fan here, Paul, in the chat. The San Francisco 49ers travel out to Indianapolis, where the Colts will be wearing their Indy Knights blackout uniforms against the 49ers there. 49ers, Colts, Monday Night Football. Colts have to win to keep their playoff hopes alive. The 49ers trying like all hell to stay on pace there in the NFC West with the Rams and with the Seahawks. And the Niners still have a chance. And actually, they control a lot of their own destiny as far as whether or not they can actually win the NFC West. I want to pick the Colts. I do. I'm rooting like hell for the Colts. I'm rooting like hell for Phillip Rivers. What a great story that would be, and all of that. And I think the Colts will put up a good game, and I do think that Phillip Rivers will do enough to keep the Colts in this game. I just feel like the Niners are too good of a team, even with all the injuries, even with everything. And we said that all year. At this point, it's not even an excuse. The fact that they just have these players that can come up here and take over spots and play the games and not have any loss in quality or production. And the way Kyle Shanahan has managed this team, and whether it's Brock Purdy in there or Mac Jones, whoever's quarterback, it just works for the 49ers. I can't see where the 49ers lose this game. So I really, really would like to pick the Colts. But if I'm being realistic, it's got to be the 49ers. And I am picking that. Paul in the chat says those Indiana Knights unis are indeed fire. I'm not a huge fan of black for black's sake, but they're not bad. They're not. I've seen worse all black uniforms. I do like them. I'll give them credit. Paul in the chat, our resident Colts fan, says Colts. I'm picking the Colts. Taylor is going to run wild. And DeForest Buckner is back, baby. Colts at home in prime time, and Rivers' first Colts game ever with the fans. I can't wait. I don't even need the 6 points that the Niners are getting. Oh, wow. The Niners giving 6 points as favorites. He says, don't even need it. He says the Colts are going to win by more than 6 over the 49ers. Paul then says, nope, you're all wrong. Taylor's going to show up. Oh, but I mean, I don't think you're wrong either. I'm not saying that Indianapolis isn't going to play well. I think Indianapolis is going to give them a game. I just think when that rubber meets the road, it's going to be the Niners that go ahead and pull out the victory at the end. Crafty in the chat says other teams aren't going to make the same mistake the Hawks did when they played cautiously in the first half. They're going to bring the heat on Rivers from the opening whistle. That might be too. The Niners just might overload and say, hey, old man, beat us downfield. And if you can beat us with your old-ass arm, go right ahead. But if you notice in that game with the Seahawks, Phillip Rivers could not get any – he was throwing mostly 5, 10-yard passes at that. And so this feels like the Niners might just overload the box and just do entire pressures there and try to either get to Rivers or stop Jonathan Taylor and say, hey, you want to beat us? You better be able to move, you better be able to think quick, and you better be able to throw it like 20, 30 yards down the field. And if he can do that, then I think that'll work. But as for me, that's just how that looks. And I think that's it. Do I have everything there? I think I picked everything as I had it. And that is indeed how it is. So week 16, this is the predictions, and that's how we have it in the books there, ladies and gentlemen. We'll go back. I'll run through them real quick for you here. I got the Eagles over the Redskins on Saturday afternoon. I got the Bears over the Packers on Saturday night. Then for Sunday, I've got the Buccaneers over the Panthers, the Bills over the Browns. That seems easy. Got the Chargers over the Cowboys there in Arlington. The Saints over the Jets at the Dome. The Vikings over the Giants. I've got the Titans over the Chiefs. I've got the Dolphins over the Bengals. I've got, you know what? I'm changing that one. You know what? I'm going to keep it where it is. I was going to go back to Cincinnati. No, screw it. I'm going Miami. Miami over the Bengals. Cardinals over the Falcons. Jaguars over the Broncos. Steelers over the Lions. Houston over the Raiders, clearly. I've got New England over the Ravens on Sunday night. And I've got the 49ers over the Colts on Monday Night Football, ladies and gentlemen. That is your Week 16 predictions and preview here on Stay Tuned Sports on the Friday Forecast. Crafty says you picked everything but your nostrils. And I've got a real crusty one in here. It's really bothering me. I'm going to let you know that right now. Paul in the chat, still trying to defend his Colts, says that crowd is going to be the loudest in a decade. Latu is going to eat. Also, McCaffrey hasn't been great lately either. Listen, Paul, I wish you the best. And I'm not saying, listen, I'm not saying the Colts can't win the game. I'm saying the Colts are going to be, I think, very competitive in that game. I just think at some point you have to figure that the talent is going to come through. So I have to think that the Niners, with all they have on the line there in the NFC West, in the NFC West, sorry, with the NFC West being as good as it is, with those three teams in it, maybe being the best division in football, those three teams arguably being three of the best teams in football, and the Colts dealing, unfortunately, with the adversity that they've had to, with the injuries they've had, with the Daniel Jones injury, with just everything that has happened with them. Again, I think they're going to fight. I think they're going to play well, but I just think that the 49ers pull it out early. And I would love, listen, we'll be here Monday night. So while we're watching the game, if we're wrong, you're going to be able to be right in the chat and say, I told you all, you're dumb. You're a bunch of dumb assholes. I told you, Colts are going to win. I told you. And we'll be here and we'll have to eat the crow. That's all. That's all we'll have to do. So, and maybe that will happen. Crafty in the chat says, streaming the Paul fight tonight. I will not be doing that. I will be hanging out, of course, with Pepperjack on this Friday. I think 2 new episodes of the Taylor Swift documentary came out. So we'll be watching that. Which Taylor picture is this? I don't even know. Yeah, there it is. Hey, Taylor. How you doing? I like that picture. That's a great picture. So be that. And I know there's college football playoffs, but I'm kind of boycotting that for now. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. So yeah, no Paul fight, streaming, anything like that. Plus, fuck that guy anyway. And we'll see what happens. But I will be streaming the Bears and Packers game tomorrow night, 8 p.m. right here. So we got a Saturday stream coming up, baby. Bears, Packers, right here on Stay Tuned Sports. So until then, I want to thank you all for joining us here on Friday Forecast. If you liked any part of the show, please do me a favor, give a like, hit that share button, share us around with the world, let people know that we do exist. And of course, if you're brand new here and haven't done so already, please hit that subscribe button and the notification bell, as we are on the road to 1,000 subscribers and being monetized on this lovely and beautiful platform known as YouTube. If you want to help us out even more, we have a link for our donation station and our merch store down in the description below. Might be changing it to Patreon. Right now it's Buy Me a Coffee, but I might be changing it to Patreon based on the chat saying, hey, might be easier to donate if you had Patreon, you dumb fat bastard. So I might do that. Got to look into it and see what I have to do and put into places and all that kind of stuff. But until then, until Saturday, until tomorrow night, as it were, at 8 p.m. for the Bears and Packers. My name is King. This has been the Friday Forecast on Stay Tuned Sports. Enjoy the rest of your Friday evening, folks.